height, defense, athleticism, a cutter, a slasher, someone that can catch lobs. When I saw that the Denver Nuggets added Aaron Gordon, they can win the West now.
Most people watch Aaron Gordon and see a solid role player, athletic, defensive-minded, doing the dirty work. But that view misses the point. Because when you really look at how he complements Nikola Jokic offensively, you start to understand Denver on a completely different level.
Jokic to Gordon.
And a 360 spin. Woo!
What he takes off Nikola Jokic defensively, and what the Denver Nuggets instantly lose the moment he sits, changes everything. You stop seeing a good role player and start seeing someone who might be the most important piece of a championship run. And somehow outside of Denver, that conversation just isn't happening the right way. Because once you really understand what Aaron Gordon does, you can't unsee it. There's a number buried in Denver stats that most people scroll past without a second thought. But once it clicks, the entire ceiling of this team looks different. For years, the narrative around Denver has been simple. Offense, Jokic and Murray, the best two-man game in basketball. The passing, the cutting, the lobs, the late game execution. And none of that is wrong. It's all real, but it creates a blind spot because people assume the Nuggets win in spite of their defense. That defense is just something they survive. But when this team is fully healthy, that's not true at all. They're not elite defensively, but they are good. Good enough to win at the highest level. So what actually makes that possible? It's not Jokic. His defensive limitations are well known. It's not Murray either, because in a playoff series, teams will target him possession after possession. It all comes back to Aaron Gordon. And Nuggets fans already know it. The numbers just make it impossible to ignore.
Jokic to Gordon! Beautiful play out of the time.
Denver's net rating jumps by nearly 11 points per 100 possessions when Aaron Gordon is on the floor. No one else on the roster even comes close to impacting both ends like that. That's not normal role player value. That's foundational. And the scary part is, the Denver Nuggets haven't even had him consistently all season. Gordon has missed significant time, and because of that, this team has rarely been fully complete. For all the brilliance of Nikola Jokic and the shot-making of Jamal Murray, one thing is becoming clear. Denver doesn't truly look like a contender without a fully healthy Gordon. If you want proof, just go back to that overtime battle against Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. That game showed exactly what he brings.
The game. 5 on the shot clock. Fox on the move. Lost the handle. Fires. Air ball. Shot.
It was billed as an MVP showdown. Nikola Jokic versus Victor Wembanyama. And on the surface, that's exactly what it looked like. But the game itself, it was decided somewhere else entirely. The San Antonio Spurs came out swinging, dropping 43 points in the first quarter and putting Denver on the back foot early. The Denver Nuggets looked out of rhythm, scrambling to keep up, trying to stabilize before the game slipped away completely. But slowly, possession by possession, they worked their way back into it. Then in the final seconds of regulation, with everything on the line, it wasn't Jokic or a Murray step back that saved them. It was Aaron Gordon, a perfectly timed cut, a decisive move to the rim, and a powerful dunk to tie the game at 124. Just like that, overtime. And once the game extended, Gordon didn't fade into the background. He took control of the moments that mattered most. What makes that even more impressive is the context. This is a player who has missed 40-plus games this season dealing with hamstring issues. He hasn't had rhythm, hasn't had consistency. But when he's available, the impact is immediate and undeniable, especially for a team that has struggled defensively at times. After the game, Jokic didn't downplay it. He said Gordon can guard 1 through 5, that he's the guy taking the toughest assignment every single night. Length, speed, timing, everything you want in a defensive anchor. And it wasn't just praise for the sake of it. It showed up on the floor. Wembanyama still put up numbers, over 30 points, nearly 20 rebounds, filling the stat sheet like he always does. But down the stretch, Gordon made him work. Every touch was contested. Every move was challenged. There was no comfort. And in the biggest moments, that pressure forced just enough disruption to swing the game. What's even more telling is how Denver used him. For most of the first 3 quarters, Gordon wasn't even on Wembanyama full-time. The Nuggets were switching too freely, and it led to mismatches, Wemby getting cleaner looks, especially when matched up with smaller defenders like Jamal Murray. But that wasn't accidental. It was strategic. They were managing Gordon, saving him, because when the fourth quarter hit, they needed him at full throttle. And when that moment came, he delivered exactly what they were preserving him for. Big defensive stops, sharp rotations, disciplined contests. And on the other end, he stayed aggressive, finishing plays, knocking down open looks, and stepping into pressure moments without hesitation. That's the part of his game people still underrate. When the lights get bright, Aaron Gordon doesn't disappear. He leans into it. He wants the ball. He wants to be the one making the play that decides the game. You can see it in the film, and you can see it in the numbers. Denver's entire defensive identity shifts when he's on the floor. The energy changes, the resistance changes, everything becomes just a little bit harder for the opponent. Even the coaching staff adjusted in real time. The original plan was to limit his minutes, but once the game tightened, that plan went out the window. They couldn't afford to sit him. He was too important on both ends. And that matters even more when you consider the opponent. This Spurs team isn't just another regular season matchup. They've been one of the hottest teams in the league, stacking wins and building real momentum. So if these two teams meet again in a playoff series, it won't be easy. San Antonio is legit. They have the talent, the size, and a generational presence in Wembanyama. But after a game like this, Denver has something just as important: clarity. Because with Aaron Gordon healthy, this team doesn't just look good. They look complete. And that's the version of the Nuggets that can actually win a championship.
Johnson, outside, Gordon for three.
Right now, the Denver Nuggets have climbed into the third seed after a strong stretch that included a win over Portland and a statement victory against the San Antonio Spurs. On the surface, everything looks like it's trending in the right direction. The offense is clicking, the momentum is building, and the standings reflect it. But underneath all of that, everything still comes back to one thing: health. More specifically, the health of Aaron Gordon. Because the way this team is constructed, Gordon isn't just another piece you can plug in and out. He's not someone you replace with a system tweak or a rotation adjustment. He's the defensive backbone, the stabilizer when things start to break down, the one player who holds everything together when games get chaotic, when matchups get messy, when the margins get thin. And Denver knows it. You can see it in how careful they've been with him all season. There's been a real balance between urgency and caution, wanting him ready, but more importantly, wanting him right for the playoffs. This hasn't been a clean year for him. He missed nearly a month from late November into December with a hamstring issue. Came back, started finding rhythm. Then just 10 games later, went down again on what looked like a routine play against Milwaukee. From there, it turned into a stop-start season. In and out of the lineup through January, February, even into March. Never fully settled. And yet every single time he steps back on the court, the impact is immediate. Gordon isn't the only Nugget who's dealt with injuries this year. Even Nikola Jokic has missed time. But during those stretches without Gordon, two things became crystal clear. First, hamstring injuries are brutal in the middle of an 82-game season. There's no clean rhythm, no smooth recovery, just constant management and the risk of setbacks. And second, Aaron Gordon might be the most important role player in the entire NBA. And that label, role player, usually comes with a bit of disrespect. It sounds like a limitation, like a ceiling. But in Gordon's case, it's the exact opposite, because he's embraced that role in a way that elevates everything around him. He doesn't need the ball. He doesn't need the spotlight. What he does is amplify the system. He makes the Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray partnership reach a level it simply couldn't without him. That was the entire vision behind the 2021 trade. When then-team president Tim Connolly went searching for a replacement after losing Jeremy Grant, he wasn't just looking for talent. He was looking for fit, and Gordon checked every box. It started with defense. His ability to guard multiple positions, to switch onto elite wings, to take on the toughest assignment every night. That's exactly what Denver needed, and the film backed it up. He'd already shown he could hold his own against the league's best. Players like LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kevin Durant, and Luka Doncic. That's a playoff resume before you even get to the postseason. At the time, Denver was hovering around the middle of the league defensively. Good, not great. And right now, that pattern is showing up again. This season, they've slipped toward the bottom third in defensive rating. And historically, that's a problem, because championship teams don't usually live there. Even elite offenses need a baseline level of defense to win at the highest level. When Denver won the title in 2023, they were top 5 offensively and middle of the pack defensively. And even that was pushing the limits of what typically works. So if they're serious about making another run, that side of the ball has to improve. And the simplest way to do that is having their most versatile defender on the floor when it matters most. They've already lived through what happens when he's not fully healthy. In a crucial playoff game last year, Gordon played, but he wasn't himself. Limited, cautious, not able to switch and recover the way Denver depends on him to. And the entire system felt it. Because when Aaron Gordon isn't fully Aaron Gordon, everything starts to crack. Fast forward to now, and the numbers are saying exactly what the eye test shows. With Gordon on the floor, Denver's defense looks like one of the best in the league. Take him off, and that number drops dramatically. It's not a subtle shift. It's a massive swing that changes the identity of the team. And it's not just defense anymore. Before the injuries piled up, Gordon was playing some of the best offensive basketball of his career. He even opened the season with a 50-point game, something nobody would have predicted for a player in his role. He was on pace for a career high in scoring, showing real growth beyond just finishing plays. So now you're not just talking about a defensive anchor or a glue guy. You're talking about a player who has expanded his offensive ceiling while still doing everything that made him valuable in the first place. That's why his presence might literally decide how far this team goes. If he's healthy, and if supporting pieces like Peyton Watson are available too, you can see the path. The team starts to resemble the dominant version again. The one that can switch defensively, survive tough matchups, and close games with control. If the health doesn't hold, it won't be a mystery why things fall apart. It'll be obvious. Gordon's value isn't optional. It's foundational. And what makes his story even more interesting is how it all came together. When Denver made the trade for him, it wasn't universally celebrated. In fact, it initially hit Jokic on a personal level. They were sending out one of his closest teammates. But over time, that move has aged about as well as any in the league. Gordon has evolved alongside the team. Even as his body has taken a toll, hamstrings, wear, and tear, the physical cost of his style of play. His game has only become more refined. He's adapted constantly. Power forward, small ball center, connective passer, off-ball cutter. Whatever the team needs, he adjusts. He lives in that rare space between star and role player. Too impactful to be just another guy, but not the name that headlines the roster. The perfect in-between. And Denver didn't stumble into that. They were searching for this exact archetype for years. At one point, they even explored guards like Drew Holiday trying to solve perimeter issues. But eventually, the real problem became clear. It wasn't just small guards. It was the wings. The big, versatile, do-it-all players you have to get through in the West. So the question became simple. Who can guard the monsters? And the answer was Aaron Gordon. The only uncertainty was whether he'd accept the role. In Orlando, he tried being the primary option. Put up numbers, carried usage, experimented with being the guy. But it didn't lead anywhere meaningful. Denver offered something different. A system built around Jokic. Less isolation, more movement. Less dribbling, more cutting. A role that required sacrifice. But one that could lead to winning. And Gordon bought in completely. From his very first games, it clicked. The team started winning immediately. And even when injuries delayed their true contention window, that time allowed Gordon to reshape his game. Strip it down, refine it, become exactly what the team needed. By the time everything came together, he wasn't just a piece. He was essential. Since then, the connection has only deepened. On and off the court, chemistry that goes beyond just running plays. And now, with another playoff run approaching, everything circles back to the same question. Health? Because Denver already knows what they have when Aaron Gordon is right. They have a team that can actually win it all. The box score will never fully capture what he does. He might finish with 15 points and 6 rebounds, and it won't trend. It won't dominate headlines. Meanwhile, someone else drops 30 and gets all the attention. But the people who really watch this team, the ones who understand what matters in May and June, they see it. They see the defensive adjustments that flip games, the rotations that shut down runs, the spacing, the cuts, the lobs, the timing, the moments that don't scream for attention but decide outcomes anyway. That's what real impact looks like. So now the question is simple. Is Aaron Gordon the piece that decides whether Denver wins another championship?